Speak.
I'm still gonna be 5 minutes late, probably.
Okay. All right. I'll just get it going and just, we'll go from there. Obviously, I'll wait for you. So,
Well, okay. I just want to make sure it works.
yeah, yeah. No, it looks like it's working. Okay.
Okay. See you in a few then.
Okay, great. All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Evening, Chris. We're just going to get started in a moment. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you.
No, it's good. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for coming here this evening. This is the Recreation Committee meeting. Sorry for starting a few minutes late. I'm coming from jury duty. Mr. Cooney is not here in person today, so he asked me to chair the meeting this evening. He is joining us via Teams and will be here with us there. Seated in the room today are myself, committee member Brian King, committee member Sherry Sachs, or Councilwoman Sherry Sachs. We have Councilwoman Weiser, Mayor Brennan, Alan Pennington, Service Director, and we have Frank Pines and Krista, how do you?
Kloteka, Christine Kloteka.
Kloteka, representing the pool with us. Also sitting in the audience, we have Dana Bremer Fisher with the city and the city engineer, Brendan Mockbee. Mrs. Sachs?
Thank you. Vice Mayor Weiss wanted me, she actually had told Mr. Cooney, but I'm not sure if he was going to say this, but she had a family obligation and regrets she couldn't be here. So she sent questions and things to Mr. Cooney.
Okay, all right. Thank you for relaying that message, Mrs. Sachs. So we're going to move into our agenda here. We have a full agenda. So agenda item 1 is a discussion on Barrow E. Rothschild Municipal Pool Maintenance Activities. So I don't know if Mr. Cooney, if you want to lead that conversation.
Yeah, thank you. One of the items that has come up is that there's been some significant maintenance, unplanned maintenance that has occurred lately at the pool. And rather than delay a recreation meeting.
Could you turn your mic down just a little bit, Chris?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is that better? How about that? Is it still getting an echo?
No, you're larger than life.
Roberta, can you turn down the speakers? We
All right,
down
I'm going to use the headset. Is that better?
It's about the same.
Okay. How about now? Is that better?
It's on our end, probably.
Yeah.
Okay. I was. Me turn the speaker
Chris.
down.
Just get comfortable. It's
Try
scary.
that. How about now?
I guess just use your inside voice.
Okay. Sorry about
Chris.
that. Okay. There have been several unplanned maintenance activities. Mr. Pennington and the finance director have provided numbers which have been forwarded to all council. And I guess at this point, Mr. Pennington could probably speak to those items at hand.
Mr. Pennington?
Yes, thank you. Several items have occurred this year at the pool. As many know, early on in the year, the water slide was not operational. We did have quite a bit of feedback from users of the pool in regards to that. With that, we ended up having to replace the pump for the water slide, which was the first item on the list, the $2,987 pump repair. That did not include some of the electrical work associated with that. It's also included on the sheet there, as well as some plumbing work that needed to occur, which was part of the emergency backflow device item that is on the sheet as well. Once we did that repair, which took approximately 3 weeks to a month to get the part and get it installed and get everything up and running, we looked at a few other things and noted that the main pool pump's backup pump had seized up. So we did a repair of the backup pump motor for that at a cost of $485. That is to have a backup for the main pump for the overall pool. In addition, then, one of the larger of the two pumps that operate the mushroom at the pool was not providing the power that it needed to give its full effectiveness. We took the larger motor offline, continuing to operate the mushroom on the smaller motor that we have, which is aging and is 30 years old, as well as the other one was. And we replaced that. We've got the replacement motor in as of end of last week. And at some point, we will need to do some more plumbing work to connect the new motor and pump into the system, which is a bit different from the original one we had due to age of the system. That is the motor that you see there for the $4,862. The electrical repairs also that are shown there have to do with some of the other work that occurred at the pool, including redoing the exit lighting around the pool and bringing some other things up to current compliance. The estimate for the plumbing that will take place for that mushroom pump motor, we do not have on this list, as that is something that will be a time and material basis upon the season ending and us installing the new pump. Once we do that, we will be looking potentially for next year to budget to replace the smaller motor, assuming that its impeller is in the same shape as the one we just replaced. That is not included in this list, but I would expect that to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $3,000 to $3,500 plus some plumbing work. And that is something that I'll be putting in next year's budget. Now, the other item that came up throughout the season here is we did have the leak resurface for the pool. We did a repair of that for another $500 on the roof of the facility to eliminate a leak issue we had there. And then most recently, which shut down the pool for a day due to the miraculous work of my chief mechanic and his welding, we had a major rupture of the sand filter tank at the pool. This split of this tank, we were able to do a weld job that temporarily has fixed the tank. However, we do know that with the rusting of that tank, as well as the rusting of the adjacent tank, that both tanks are going to need to be replaced. I did receive a quote today for those tanks at $19,534 each. This does not include any plumbing to move the old tanks out of place and get the new tanks in. It does not include the stone, labor, or disposal of the old tanks. So right now, with each tank being at 19,534 plus other anticipated work. I'm going to estimate that the replacement of these sand filter tanks for to allow us to go forward next year are going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $50,000. And again, that would be something I'll be putting in as a budget request for next season.
That was 50 as in 50.
50,
Thank you.
comma, 000. Yes, it's 20,000 per tank plus labor for the installation and materials.
And just a quick question on if we were to proceed with that, is that would bring them up to a modern, more modern spec?
It would be
and something that could continue to serve for a longer
It would be
period of
it
time.
would be a similar tank to what we had. We got 30 years out of. So it is something that would allow us to continue to operate the pool for some time with those particular tanks. We also have another piece of equipment that's going to be about $3,500 to replace for our chlorine distribution that will also have to be budgeted for next year.
Thank you. Mr. Cooney, did you have anything?
Yeah, one of the items we talked about was replacement of the doghouse.
That is not included in any of the estimates I've provided. Now, this is something that we will look at potentially using some of our Home Depot account and having one of my in-house people try to rebuild more modern, lighter doghouse for us to be able to move and operate more efficiently there at the water slide. That'll be an after-season thing for us to work on.
Mrs. Sachs?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Just about the doghouse, instead of, if we can't afford to replace that, can it be cordoned off in a little more of a safe manner so that there's restricted access? That could be cost effective in the interim and better for risk management purposes. Thank you.
Okay, it's something we can look at. Now, it would not be something aesthetically pleasing because we would end up having to try to board up with some plywood around the area.
Yeah,
and
it could look a little okay. It could be painted, it could, something,
Yeah.
but just to consider so that we don't have any accidents, unanticipated injuries. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Pennington, have there been any injuries with this device over at the water slide?
no, there have not.
Thank God.
One of the items
Oh,
is,
one moment, Mr. Cooney. Ms. Weiser?
Mr. Pennington, maybe I missed it, but I believe Councilman King asked you if the replacement of the filters would be an upgrade to what is currently there. Is it an upgrade or an equal type replacement?
It's more of an or equal type replacement.
It's an or equal.
Yeah,
I think you.
yeah.
And I guess kind of where I was going with that, no, we haven't broached that topic this evening, but if we were to ever move on more substantial redoing of the pool, are those pumps that or those filters that we could continue to use in the future?
They should be able to be. It would all depend upon the design of the pool that if we were to do further upgrades there. These tanks bring the water that comes through the pool into these tanks, filter the water, and then send it back out to the pool. Most systems will use some sort of sand filtration type tank. And these should be able to be utilized in a future setup.
That's good. Ms. Weiser?
One final question. You said the split was caused in a rusted area?
The tank is rusted. There was a spot that rusted through, and ultimately with the pressurization of the tanks, it failed at its weakest point.
Do we do on an ongoing basis maintenance of those outside metal things at the pool where we addressed rust and maybe repaint in order to stretch some of this?
Well, these tanks are actually in a building. They're in the pool, they're in the pool house in the building itself. The rusting that takes place with this is just 30 years of wear and tear on these particular
But
tanks.
do we actually have an ongoing proactive maintenance program to address those kinds of things? I'm just curious. That's
Yeah.
all.
And these here, there really isn't any maintenance that really needed to occur.
Uh-huh.
It's just a matter of,
So it's as
it's,
needed.
it's an,
It's
it's,
as
it-
needed.
yeah,
Okay, thank you.
it's an age-related thing,
Thank
yes.
you.
Thank you. Mr. Cooney?
Yeah, one of the items is I sent Mr. Takar a template for to schedule and document maintenance activities. She could probably elaborate a little bit more on that.
Next year, we were looking at implementing a way to maintenance. Like every time the pool would be backwashed, we would just have the maintenance guy at the pool log it into the system. So that way, all of the managers and anybody who's doing any kind of maintenance work at the pool will have a log of it all. So that way we won't have to go search. We'll just have it. That's just one of the things that would be in there, like checking the filter. Anytime there's any kind of repair work done. This way, like when we had the question earlier in the season of how often is the sand changed in the sand filters, we'll just know because it'll be on that log. We just have to figure out a way that we want to set this up so it works. I'm thinking of having one of my assistant managers, Jenna, look into this because she is actually really good at this kind of stuff. But this is just a starting thing right now.
When you say system, is this part of the pool management software, or are you just saying a generic system?
A generic system. We'll just create a log that we'll have virtually that we'll do at the pool.
Okay.
It could be a Google Doc as an example.
True. Yes.
We'd want to keep it electronically, not hard.
Mrs. Sachs?
Thank you. So this is our first step at preventative maintenance planning. Mr. Cooney, is that the intention?
Correct. It's to document the planned and unplanned maintenance.
So we really don't have something in place right now for that?
I'm not aware of any maintenance that's being reported in the city.
I meant preventative maintenance is something that's planned, that, and then of course unplanned, you add in, but you have a list of all the things you want checked over what period of time, and then over what frequency, I should say. And then we know how to plan, and then you can also include when it was last installed, purchased, utilized, whatever that activity is associated with it.
Correct.
I think, we all know maintenance does occur at the pool and things need to be break fixed, but this is.
I'm talking
right.
about preventative.
Yes, but yeah, this is a more formalizing of a preventative maintenance program. Mrs. Weiser?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding was the service department took care of the maintenance at the pool. Is that not correct?
We do maintenance. I've got one of my workers dedicated full-time down there to handling maintenance at the pool.
So does
During
the
the summer
service department have a record of this now?
We do not. We go out there. He works on a daily basis, taking care of little things around the pool. And then when these other bigger issues come up, this year has been the year that we've really had a major list, and this list that we provided earlier today covers most of the items you would expect. These are all things that you can't foresee their failure. These pumps are not something that you can look at and tell that they're going to fail. Something's going to, for instance, water slide pump, it catastrophically failed, and there was nothing we could do with that. We did take upon some preventative maintenance to replace the larger pump for the mushroom, as we saw that we were starting to have issues with it, and we wanted to replace it before we had a complete failure and took that item out of service.
So having spent 25 years in manufacturing, where equipment failures could be a problem, and knowing older equipment breaks down, not having that plan, I think, is frightening to me. That we have never, since it got assigned to the service department, ever tried to keep the records that would allow for a more coherent preventative maintenance plan. I'm not saying at 30 years that this stuff shouldn't be breaking down, Mr. Pennington, and please don't take it that I'm saying that. But I am saying, I think some of the surprises we had may not have happened if we had a better handle on things. I know looking in that pool room a year ago, I was amazed at the condition of some of the stuff that was in there. And I will grant you, I've been away from manufacturing for 20 odd years, but still, if we had maintained the stuff in our plant, we would have had a plant manager that would have been out. Because you do have to, I mean, well, look at the cost now. So planning ahead might have helped. I know you had a major problem finding the pool pump that you were able to find finally after plowing through the original forms. So I'm just amazed. That's all.
Mrs. Sachs?
Thank you. One more point. So after the season, at some point, Mr. Cooney, that there's some point in time after the end of the season, maybe in the before the season begins, to test things to see what the conditions are, the rust, whatever, because to have it happen in the middle of the season and to hold, yeah, some things cannot be foreseen, but some things perhaps could be seen. At least we could point to preventative maintenance that we looked at it. So that there isn't this type of disruption to our city's gem, the pool. So I'm looking forward to that and to this type of thing. So not just what the list is, but when it will be reviewed and then anticipated and budgeted if possible. Thank you.
Yes. That will include frequency.
Right.
When it should be completed, when it was completed, by who, and any additional note. And Christine and I and Mr. Pines will develop that list, which will also include a pre-season and end of season checklist.
Great. Mayor?
Yes. Mr. Pennington, what is the preventative maintenance one can do on one of these tanks? One of these sand filters?
The only preventative maintenance you can do with these tanks is take out approximately 1/4 of the sand, scrape the top of that off along with the any hair, other debris or anything that ends up in that tank, and replace 1/4 of the sand. That's something that unfortunately had not been done in some time. However, that did not have any relation at all to the failure that we experienced this year. The failure was just a metal failure with the pressure within the tank.
So you're saying that if this had been done, you don't think this would have changed the outcome?
No, not at all.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Weiser?
I don't totally disagree, but I do disagree. The exterior rust is the real problem. Allowing that to rust over time without sand treatment on the outside of that material, because the pool is a watery environment and water and metal don't like each other, might have extended it or at least given us a clear idea that that thing was in trouble before it was. That was my point.
Mhm.
Okay. Just one more thing that I'm interested on in topic of maintenance. Mr. Coon or Mr. Pennington, you're working on getting quotes for testing the pool for leaks after the end of the season.
Yes, there's currently only one firm that I'm aware of that does this type of work. It's a company called American Leak Detection. I have made multiple contacts with them. They did respond to me last week asking for the address of the pool one more time, but I have not been able to get them to come in to get the quote that I was hoping to get from them this month. So we are working towards that. There are two different types of tests. One is a test for the leakage within the pool itself, cracks, that sort of thing, where they have a diver and dye that they do deal with. Be something we would look at basically at the end of the season to do that type of testing. The other testing is a more destructive testing that will cost a significant amount of money, as well as cause the removal of every one of the steel grates around the pool, which means cutting the welds, and if we're lucky, being able to replace those back in place and re-weld every grate around the entire pool. That type of destructive testing with the plumbing work that needs to occur, as well as the testing they need to do, would only tell us that there are pressurized leaks somewhere within the underground portion of the pool, not necessarily where those leaks are, and will not necessarily tell us anything other than the fact that we do have leaks, which then would require digging up, removing of concrete around the pool and digging to replace some of the piping.
Thank you, Mr. Pennington. Is there anything else on the subject of maintenance before we move on to the next agenda item? Okay, we will move on to agenda item 2, discussion on Beryl E. Rothschild Municipal Pool communications. And in particular, the question of are there more methods that we can use to distribute the status of the pool to community members?
An idea that we had, and we actually had this idea at a previous meeting, was if we could get an email created that would be like purposepool.info@universityheights.com. We have most email addresses for those who apply for pool passes. For instance, like we can take all of the ones that apply for swimming lessons and we can create an email base for swimming lessons. That way, if we need to cancel or reschedule, we can just send a quick email out to anybody that's in our system. That was one of our ways of communicating. The other was we just made a new Instagram page. We do have, I don't know how many followers we have at the moment, but we do have quite more than we started. So that was one of the ways we can communicate, and we still have a Facebook page.
Okay, thank you. So you said you have email addresses for most of the, you get the email address as part of the sign up process?
Yes, it's just if it's an updated email that people currently use.
Okay.
Because some of these are from 5 years ago. But when they fill out for swimming lessons, that's a new form filled out every season, so.
Okay. Okay. All right. I think there was also another suggestion of potentially using the code red system that we use to communicate emergencies. We do use it occasionally for non-emergency events. So I don't know, Mayor, would you have any comment on using that for, say, for the situation where the pool was closed for a few weeks ago?
Well, I think using the code red for pool closures when there's so many people on that aren't necessarily using the pool might be overkill. I considered doing it there, but we also have the sign that lights up now. You know, we put a message on the sign that says the pool is closed. We did put it out on our socials as well. And for anyone who would have driven over, having missed anything that was on the socials, they would have seen the sign that says the pool is closed. And
Additional ideas, the Remind app, that's just a text message that you sign up for that would then just be sent directly out to you. That's what some schools use. We would just need to create an account. I think tennis uses it, but she uses her account that she has through her school, so.
So how does that work?
It's, well, when I have it for my children's PSR group, it's literally, I just have a QR code. And then I put in my phone number and then I get a text message asking if I want to be a part of that group. And then they send me messages for things. I can look more into it. It's called Remind.
So is there a charge then for that?
I
or-
think there is, yeah.
I would be curious on that. I did also like your suggestion of an email, just sending out an email to a distribution list. But it sounds like we're not sure if all the currency of all those email addresses.
And we could ask for everybody to update.
Yeah, that might be something in the next season to try to prompt people for that. But I think sending out an email blast or potentially looking at this text thing might be a good balance in trying to get the word out faster to folks. Does anyone else have, or Mr.
I
Henning?
was going to say in regards to the closure we had at this event here, I did work with Mayor Brennan and Mike Cook to try to get those things out on the socials as well as get the message board updated as quickly as possible. Now, the thing we ran into was some of the lap swimmers not looking at the socials before they left home in the morning to go out to the pool. So you're not going to catch everybody with that sort of thing. And that's still going to lead to a situation where there may be some dissatisfied residents with the any closure that we may end up having to have.
Yeah, I agree. That was a difficult situation. Ms. Weiser?
I know I drove past the pool the day that's went down and the sign was not working. And I understood that it was electrical, and I don't know what time it actually went up. So if it didn't get up before the pool opened and somebody would come, they wouldn't have known that the pool was going to be closed. It seems to me that people know other people who use the pool because everybody talks to everybody else, at least most of them. I'm finding neighbors do wonderful things. If something happens, they'll pass it along. So I understand the mayor's hesitancy in using code red, but maybe that would have really helped alleviate some of the issues with the people that came. Because if their neighbor, and granted, some of the people who use the pool are not signed up for code red. There's always a gap. And that will always remain. But to me, if overshare is better on stuff like this than undershare, it just seems more practical.
Mrs. Sachs?
Thank you. I understand what the mayor was saying about not overusing is how I interpret code red system for non-emergency events. I wonder though, if the temperature is like over X, 90 degrees that day or something, where what's happening more and more frequently and people are depending on the pool as a cooling place. Perhaps if the code red is used under very certain circumstances, they could make other arrangements for cooling if they were facing some issues. So something to think about.
Thank you, Mrs. Sachs. Mayor?
Yeah, I think that brings up an interesting point. I mean, if it's over 90 degrees, should we open up the pool to everybody in the community, regardless of whether they've joined, in order to cool off? I mean, I think that's an interesting point, and maybe we should discuss that.
Let's discuss.
The agenda item.
Right.
It's about communications.
Yes, I agree. That's something we could discuss. Let's pick that up at a.
Yeah, I mean, that didn't happen here.
Another meeting.
And I think the other thing we need to keep in mind is that the pool closes for a myriad of reasons throughout the season. This particular time was because of the incident with the sand filter, but if it's raining, the pool is closed. If the temperature is too cool, the pool is closed. If we have a staffing issue, the pool is closed. And we haven't done code reds for those either. And if we start doing a code red every time there is any kind of adjustment to the pool schedule, that's going to minimize the effectiveness of code red as a communication device, because people will start ignoring those messages.
I agree. Yeah. So we'll explore the getting the email list updated and potentially the text messages. One last comment from Mrs. Sachs.
Thank you. I'm going to walk back what I said just a little bit based on what the mayor said. Actually, if the code red is going out to everyone, that might seem like everyone can come to the pool. We never want to have a situation where we're overcrowded or over capacity for a different type of safety, which is, lifeguard ratios. So perhaps that is not the best, but the email distribution groups sounds very feasible. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Mrs. Sachs. So I think we're ready to move on to agenda item 3. Discussion on Barrow E. Rothschild Municipal Pool revenue and expenses. Mr. Cooney, do you want to lead this topic here?
Sure. Thank you. I emailed the expenses and revenue through July to everyone. Which also included unencumbered and unexpended appropriations. The part-time seasonal wages seem to be down, but it does not include the August expenses so far. This would probably come to Mr. Pettit. Would we have to make any adjustments to the budget with these unplanned maintenance that has occurred?
At this point, I can't give you a clear answer on that until we see what the month of August really does from the standpoint of our normal expenses. We did have budgeted for the pool this year, 392,000, as you see there. With having the extra 11,000 in there, there is a chance that we're going to have to do some adjustments, but at this point, until we know really where we're at with the final income, the final expenses for wages, et cetera, I'm not going to have a good picture of that until probably the end of the month.
One of the, I should say the biggest driver of revenue is the pool passes. And we made a change in the criteria. Christine, would you comment as to how that process was this year and any feedback received?
All the changes we made on our end have been really well. It's done exactly what we kind of needed it to do, where it's prevented people from outside the community coming in and using the pool that would then leave the University Heights community members outside of the pool. So our front desk has really cracked down when it came to admitting people, and then even after they've done everything online, basically there's a recheck at the front desk just to make sure that nothing was missed. So, utility bills have to be reseen, driver's license have to be reseen. There was a little pushback, but for the most part, we haven't really seen a drop in University Heights people coming to the pool. It's just been people that somehow were able to make it in the past that didn't have a University Heights residency. It kind of cleared people that at one point lived in University Heights, but over the last 5 years may have moved, but never updated their residency inside of our system. So we've been able to update it on our end. And then it's made it so we haven't had these days where we've been at max capacity where people are getting left out. And it's also made it so the people that are coming into the pool, since it's the community's pool, they're treating it better and they're not breaking rules, and it's just an all-around better experience for the community.
Thank you for that input on that program. I will say I've not heard, personally, I have not heard any negative feedback this year on too many people being at the pool or not enough lifeguards. The situations we were hearing about frequently about this time last year. So in that respect, it appears like this program's been effective. So thank you for that information. Ms. Weiser.
How many times have we reached capacity this year? Do you know? And I realize I asked you off the cuff.
So we reached capacity technically on our second women's night. I know that for a fact. However, we reached it literally at the very end. And I think we let 2 more people in past that because people were just coming and going. But usually on those nights, luckily this year, we've had plenty of lifeguards. So we are able to have enough lifeguards where we can raise capacity on those nights. Same thing goes on weekends and holidays. I know that on 4th of July, we did close off for guest passes. We didn't allow guest passes that day. And that was basically, it was a 95-degree day, I think. And we were just assuming, we didn't actually reach capacity, but we came close.
Okay.
But we haven't really had capacity issues this season.
So it has taken the pressure off you.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
I only know of one day that we reached it, and
Wow.
it was okay.
Okay, thank you.
There's also another significant change. I was just remembering this. We increased the salary or the hourly rate for the lifeguards this year to be more competitive. Do you think that has helped get? Are we seeing more lifeguard hours in?
Yes, that's helped. That's
easier to
one
get
of the
them?
main factors. I actually had to turn some lifeguards away because it was actually some Cleveland Heights guards. When Cumberland was having issues, they contacted me, but at that point we already had plenty of lifeguards, and I haven't had a problem getting them scheduled. Right now is the end of the season where everybody's starting to go away to college, and this is the typical time where I start to lose them, but we're still in pretty good shape, so.
Great. Any other comments on revenue and expenses for the pool? Okay, hearing none, we will move on to agenda item 4, discussion on Beryl E. Rothschild Municipal Pool resources.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Cooney.
This is to follow up on the needs from Christine and Frank Pines. Equipment. It could be for the lifeguards, umbrellas, chairs. Also any equipment such as replacement pool pumps or any resources that might be needed. We need to plan for the 2026 budget.
Christine?
So on top of the huge expenditure for the sand pumps, I think we really need to look into the control system that we use to pump the chemicals into the pool. And if we can't replace that, at the minimum, we'd have to replace the actual pumps themselves. We replaced one for the mushroom, and the amount of chemicals it was able to pump in at the rate was so much quicker. It just makes more sense to replace these. They're called Stenner pumps. They're approximately $1,500 a piece. We would
Say
need
center.
Stenner, Stenner.
Thank you.
They just control the flow of chlorine and acid into the water. They're hooked up to our comm control system. We would probably need to replace 2 of those next year, and or along with the sensors for our comm control system that read the chlorine and pH of the pool. As well as, we talked about this earlier in the season, a new vacuum filter, and I think a new vacuum head. Our pool maintenance man requested that we have for him. I don't know if that was ever replaced.
No, I don't believe we budgeted that this year.
Yeah.
I had to limit what I was asking for in this past season. That was one of the items that ended up not making the cut. Now, I do know that the one control unit is about $3,500, and that is one of the items I intended on requesting in this coming year's budget, along with these sand filtration tanks.
We're on the same page.
The other item, Mr. Pennington, are the other items that Christine mentioned, are those on your radar?
Christine usually provides me end of the season a list of items that she'd like for the season. I evaluate those items and I try to incorporate what I feel we can
Into the
in the
budget.
budget. And last year I did replace the microwaves in the kitchen. I replaced the ice machine. I budgeted for the lock replacement of various locks throughout the facility, which should take place tomorrow. So we do try to accomplish as much as we can in one season while not overtaxing the budget. But unfortunately, with these sand filtration tanks, we're gonna have a higher ask next year than normal.
Mr. King,
Yes, Mr. Cooney.
Christine, are there items for the bathrooms that are needed as well?
We should probably look into, this is just a request we've had from patrons in the past, to try and redo the showers. We have it where it's like a push button system right now where you kind of just push the shower and it's like on a timer for about a minute where the water will come out and you can't adjust the hot or cold. So some of the patrons have asked about that, if that's something we can look into doing. A paper towel dispenser, soap dispensers for for both bathrooms. And we did paint in there this season, so that could come off that list. We have some changing room hooks, but we probably would need more in the off season for some of the broken ones that we have. But that is what I have on my interior bathrooms list for now.
Thank you. Mr. Cooney, you also under this, you mentioned something about swim lessons. Do you want to talk about that this evening or?
Yes. I received an email from a resident asking if we could look at the times that the swim lessons take place. And I'm sorry, I'm going back to email I sent you.
Lessons take place Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Not for the last 5 years. Should it be restarted? Can we do lap swim on Sunday? It's kind of.
Christine, any thoughts on that?
When we switch the lessons over from Monday, Tuesday to Wednesday, Thursday, Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, the reason why we did that is because a majority of people wouldn't show up to the Saturday lessons. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday would have significantly more people in it than the Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, because they just wouldn't sign up for it because they didn't want to be there on Saturdays. What we've been doing has been working well for us. I could look into it, but I'm hesitant to change that back. We technically do have lap swim on Sunday. We have an adult time from 10:30 to 12:30 before the pool opens where people can swim laps, but we don't have an early morning lap swim on Sunday.
Was there one in the past?
Not that I'm aware of. We did have an early morning lap swim on Saturday in the past that we have gotten rid of, mainly because it is one of the only mornings off at the pool where there's no one in the water. So when maintenance does need to be done, such as to do the backwash of the pool, because you can't have anybody in the pool while you're backwashing it because you have to shut the pump off for a time period. That's when stuff like that's done. It's done on Saturdays when we know we won't have anybody in the water. So that's kind of why we never went back to having a lap swim on Saturday or lessons on Saturday.
And we discussed a resident was asking about restarting the swim team.
Yes, I've had a couple of people talk to me about restarting the swim team. I am all for supporting it. The only thing that I would require is that we would have parent volunteers to help run it. And if we can also make sure that we pick a minimum number that we would want for signups to try and reach that level. So we're not trying to open a swim team with just a couple of kids. We would just have to discuss what a proper number would be.
That's something that we can discuss over the next several months. To try to see if we can put something in place at the beginning of 2026.
Yeah, I have a couple of lifeguards who've already told me that they're interested in helping coach. And I've also had some other neighboring pools reach out about competing. It would be an independent league like we've done in the past. And I've also talked to the former director, Kay Hahn, about it as well. And she's open to sharing her information with us about how she used to run the program.
Great.
One other item was would we be able to offer pickleball lessons?
Mr.
I
Pennington.
was going to say, if I may, on this one here, that was one of the things that was brought up by Melissa Kanowitz, our tennis instructor. And I asked her to put together a proposal for me to look at, one, her capabilities of being able to do so, and two, what they would entail as we go forward with budgeting for next year. In addition, she had a number of other demands and requests that she wanted to do. And with that, she wanted more money for her students or her people teaching. And in bringing that up, bringing that to light, I told her that as tennis lessons have not increased in price in years and years and years, we need to look at the fee structure for the tennis lessons as well. As I know we're about $15 to $25 per lesson or per session, less than I believe Beechwood and some other communities locally.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pennington. We'll look for that during the off season.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I think we are done with this agenda item. So we will move on to agenda item 5, discussion on Purvis Park Pavilion and Playground resource needs. And our questions here is, what sorts of grants are available for playground items? Is there anyone who wants to speak to that here this evening?
Is Deanna Bremer Fisher there?
She is.
She is here.
We're going for the microphone, I believe. Or no, she's sitting down. Got it.
Going to a microphone like this one is on. Yeah, last time this committee met, I presented you with a spreadsheet that had various grants on them. And so I can look to see, if there are any updates to that list. But that was the list that I presented last time. There are a couple of county grants that are coming up, I know, that have a deadline of September 15th. Those require both having they require having a public input session that is advertised and also having a council resolution before you're able to apply for those. So timing on either of those would be very tight, given that we don't have any plans for a project at this point.
If I may.
Mayor?
Yes, I know I've brought up at previous rec committee meetings that when it comes to the playground, and it may not be a rec committee meeting, it was some committee meeting, but when it comes to the Purvis playground, it is worn out. It does need new equipment. And Mr. Pennington and I looked briefly at the idea of just finding something that would fit the footprint, but what we quickly realized was that rather than just come to council with a proposal for a new piece of equipment to replace the old one, the better thing to do would be to do outreach into the community and see what it is that, you know, families, playground users would want, because this particular playground was designed and put in place in the 1990s. What we have in playgrounds today compared to then is quite different. The expectations of children and families is different with regard to what would be in a playground. I have spoken with a couple of different playground designers with respect to, you know, what they do out there. They've looked at the overview of the site. It's kind of small, but nevertheless, the things that they might be able to do. But all these things really should be driven by the demand of meeting the needs of the families who would use the playground. So, you know, as we sit here, I don't know that any of us are really better qualified for picking out equipment than, you know, using our judgment versus those folks with children and the children themselves who would be using such playgrounds, what it is that they like. You know, Beechwood just did a huge new playground, of course, much larger space. We're not looking to do anything quite like that, but there could be ideas that could be driven from that where folks and families might be interested in seeing some of those elements. I think we ought to be doing some outreach on that and some public comment on that before we just design something and put it there.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Weiser.
Towards the end of last summer, and Councilman Cooney is well aware of this, because of the amount of complaints that were coming to Mrs. Sachs about the playground, we took the time to walk that playground. And quite frankly, I was appalled. I'm surprised that we're just now talking about maybe we should have people that use the playground and get them together and talk about what they need and do it as a community. That playground has been going downhill for a number of years. This isn't new. There are only 2 playgrounds in the city of University Heights that are on University Heights property, city property. That's at the Walt and at Purvis Park. And I do recall, and I believe it was at a council meeting, talking about a grant, and it was noted that, and this is a couple of years ago, because I had just come on council, that it could be used for playground equipment. We can't do those kinds of things. I'm very grateful that now it's finally, another year later, becoming something that, oh geez, maybe we need to start thinking about doing.
Thank you, Ms. Weiser.
Mhm.
Mayor?
Yes, no, I mean, I recognize it's been a year. You know, when it was last brought up, that was one of the reasons why, when we got a community development director position put together, that would be the kind of thing we would want that person to do. You know, it took 9.5 months to get an approval on a salary for that. And we do have the position posted now, but you know, let's recall that the person that we might have been seeking to have do that kind of work was not then and has not been yet employed by the city, because I was only able to post the position a couple of weeks ago. So, you know, let's remember that when things like that are held up, things like this get held up, and there are consequences to inaction.
Ms.
Thank you.
Weiser.
Even before I came on council, council was requesting that the city hire either a part-time or full-time grant writer, which never appeared. That's one. Number 2, the maintenance of that playground, I believe, also falls to the service department, which means the service department is pretty good at letting people know when there's issues. That this is not something that has suddenly appeared. It is something that could have been addressed, wasn't addressed, and I am grateful it is finally at least to the point about talking about getting addressed. Some of the pictures that we took, and we rewalked it with Mr. Cooney. And Mr. Cooney was well aware of our feelings regarding it. I'm surprised it never got brought up last year, which had nothing to do with the new position.
Mr. King?
I have one more thing that should just be corrected for the record, Mr. King.
Mr. Cooney?
Yeah, so one of the other items we recognize is the grills that absolutely must be replaced. And these are items that we did discuss at the last rec meeting. And I would appreciate if Mr. Pennington could include it in his budget proposal.
Thank you, Mr. Pennington. Briefly, Mayor?
Yes, briefly. The playground at Purvis Park is not on city property. I think people need to be made aware of that. It's actually on the Heights Jewish Center property. It's part of our lease with them. So that may not change the merits of the discussion, but I think it should be something that people are mindful of and aware of, that anytime we make a change over there, we're gonna have to work with them. So.
Mrs. Sachs?
I don't know what, that's the first time I've heard of that. Is anybody else been aware of that?
If you
Mr.
read the
Cooney, were
leaf,
you aware of that as the chairman of the rec committee?
I was not aware of that.
Okay. Thank you for letting us know.
well, it was in the lease you all approved me to sign, so thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else on the agenda, this particular agenda item?
That's the community development coordinator. They'll be doing some grant writing.
Do we?
It's
get them?
several things, but that's one of them.
There was a request from Mrs. Sachs. Could you state your name and address?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we are now to our last agenda item, discussion, and we're moving away from Purvis over to Walter Stinson Community Park, talking about resources needed there. And I believe we have some quotes and information on shade sales that we've discussed in previous meetings. Ms. Mockbee, do you want to speak to those? Is the microphone there?
So, Mr. Cooney, he asked me to take a look, try to get some prices for the seating areas, the benches over there at the Walt. So, I did locate a couple different styles that might be good for those areas. Some of them are like 3 benches in a row. Some of them, we had talked about maybe putting a new bench where there's no bench. So I did get some starting prices of what the shade sales are, and did that go to everybody?
This
From game
afternoon.
time?
Yeah, came
Yeah.
to council this afternoon.
Okay. So it's just for the material, so it would still need to be installed, and it would probably require small concrete footings for each of the poles. So whether or not that's something that we could do in-house, or you would need to hire somebody to do that.
Thank you. Would you take a step back and describe what it is, what the purpose is, so people in the public understand what we brought up?
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you, Mrs. Sachs, for asking that clarifying question.
Code.
Yeah, and I will just, before you continue, yeah, I will state, this is probably the number one question that I get about the Walter Stinson Park is the lack of shade. People are at they're with their kids at the playground, and the parents are just sweating there in the sun. We have discussed in this committee meeting potential options for that. I believe Ms. Mockbee brought up the potential of shade sales, or somebody brought it up in another city. Thank you, Mrs. Sachs. That's how we came to this down this avenue. So, Ms. Mockbee.
So the shade sails are metal posts that would be erected, and then fabric sails, like from sailboats type of style, would be installed. They're installed with hooks so they can be removed during the winter, but they would provide some temporary shade, shady spots for those benches that are out in the sun. Looks like there's more than one good location over there at the wall that we could install. And then they vary in types, a triangle type of shade or a rectangle, or you could put two together, so we can get fancy too. So they're just various types of canvas, outdoor canvas material on poles.
So this quote here, or that we have, is this just showing the various types of products, but not actually not actually mapped to anything at the park, or just potential that we could look
Right,
at? Okay.
right. So we just looked at, I took some measurements, I passed on my measurements, but I believe the prices that came back were for the smallest sizes. So it would go up from there.
Mr. King?
Mr. Cooney?
If we did, we were at the park approximately noon, 1 p.m. So we can gauge where the sun would be and potentially best location for those shades.
Is that a question or a statement?
Yeah, where?
Oh, yeah,
How
yes.
they came to,
I see.
They did it.
they
Okay.
actually experienced that.
Okay,
Heat of the
gotcha.
day.
Okay.
We did have one meeting that had to get canceled due to rain.
So do we actually have like a map of where, like what this would potentially look like on like a satellite view or something like that?
No, I don't, but
Okay.
I mean, I have my GIS map with circles.
see.
So the two locations that we looked at there are 6 benches there right now near the playground areas. And then we had talked about possibly putting up one more bench in a different location around. So all of it is around the playground
Gotcha.
areas. Because there's not a lot of trees over there in those spots.
Ms. Sachs?
Hello. Thank you. These pictures or whatever are really cool. They're very nice. I look, and I wonder though, if we put them by the playground, if kids are going to climb on it. But they're kind of, they're interesting. They're nice. So I don't know, just to think about that, the proximity to the playground. I don't know.
Well, hopefully their parents are sitting.
I hope
underneath.
so, but
So,
And I think
they look like fun.
well, these ones are colorful. I mean, we could just
They're great. Oh, they're there.
black
Just to
with
keep that in mind.
tan sails. I mean, the sails come in different colors, so.
They're refreshing.
If you order more, say for the pool, would the cost go
Right.
down?
I don't know. I didn't ask that, but I
Yes,
could
for the
see
pool.
if we get a discount for the more we order.
It's just a thought.
just jump in the pool. No.
Well, that's a
Yeah,
great
that's
thought.
shade.
Yes, it is.
It kind of will be a little bit of a branding, to
True.
connect the park.
Yeah, I mean, we could do them in the city colors.
would be good to
Would-
know.
A mosaic.
Mm.
Would that, would that be potentially, and I don't know if you and Chris talked about this, would that potentially be a better solution in some areas of the pool instead of the umbrellas that appear to die on a pretty regular basis?
We didn't talk about the pool, sorry.
What's the life expectancy of these?
I think Mr. Pennington has some input here.
In regards to the pool, some of the considerations we have to have is these posts that these things are mounted on require a foundation. And when you start digging around that existing pool, I have some concerns. So locating the areas that we have to do it around the pool would be more in some of the grassy areas further away from the pool than where a lot of the chairs are now. Because I would not want to do anything that might interact with the underground drainage system, of that pool, any more than what we're already dealing with there. So we have to be very cautious with anything we do over the pool that requires a foundation.
Well, thank you for that point, Mr. Pennington.
And I'll have to ask and get back to you on the lifespan of these. I'm not sure.
Okay,
Mr. King?
Ms. Weiser.
I know this was the last item on the agenda, but since the engineer is here, I'd like to ask a question that relates to the last recreation meeting.
We do have just a couple more items.
Oh, good. We can do it.
Sure, yeah. Mr. Cooney, you had additional lighting.
Yes. Mrs. Weiss had asked if we could install additional lighting at the wall. She made a comment. It's very dark, and there have been some incidents. I did request from Chief Rogers what those incidents were, when. I'm sure I'll get a response when he returns. But I guess would there be like grants that would be available if we were to install lampposts in the park?
Thank you, Mr. Cooney. Yeah, I almost wonder if this would be a better suited in safety committee service. Yeah, my gut says safety, just because we do want to get Chief Rogers' feedback on if there have what level of incidents we've had there. There may also be some safety related grants we could potentially pursue if we were to put lighting there. I will say that the park is, I believe, marked as being closed from sunset to sundown. And I see heads shaking from the mayor and Mr. Pennington. Mr. Pennington, you had a comment. Was that your comment?
That was one of my comments, yes. The park is closed after sundown, of course, which placing lights out there is going to encourage people to be out there.
Yeah.
We've had some instances recently with some teenagers, young teens, going over and vandalizing the playground equipment as well as the bathrooms at the park, both inside and outside. And it's a situation where we've had to monitor that, and I believe police have talked at least with the parents of one of the young men involved with this. Most recently, we've had a couple of the toddler swings get vandalized at the playground over there. I ordered new seats, and those are going to be installed here very soon.
That's unfortunate. Yeah, I do tend to agree that having the lights there would invite people, to go to the park more during the evening. I think having, that invitation presents, liability issues to the city. And also light pollution into people's backyards. And so I do have some concerns on lights, but perhaps we can discuss more in safety committee. Ms. Weiser?
Appropriate lighting is also safety. What goes on in that park in dark areas, no one can see. And the people that we don't want in the park are in the park. Even though we say the park is closed because there's no way to close the park. We say it, but it really, in reality, is not closed.
Thank you, Ms. Weiser. Do we want to, this seems to be, between comments made by myself and Ms. Weiser, seems to be coalescing on
I'd refer it to safety, but I'm not,
safety. Right.
I'm not a member of the committee to be able to do that.
yes.
Councilman King?
Yes. No, I was getting there. Yeah. Do we make motions to refer from committee to committee?
Yep.
Okay.
All
right.
Mr. King,
Yes.
as you and Mrs. Sachs are there from the committee.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
we'll take care of it.
I would, in my opinion, safety would seem to be appropriate.
I would like to make a motion to discuss lighting at the Walter Stinson Park, after dark especially, but in general, to move it to the Safety Committee for more discussion.
I will second that motion.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, great. So, and then the last item that we have listed here is bathroom maintenance.
2 items.
2 items?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone care to speak to bathroom maintenance at the Walt?
Well, I can say that we did power wash the bathrooms this week. Actually, I'm sorry, Friday. We did go and heavy duty power wash both bathrooms over there at the Walt. Part of the issues we're running into over there are those teenagers. They were tearing the toilet paper rolls off the wall and doing a number of other things in those bathrooms. We have done what we can to help rectify that situation, but again, that's a situation, if you don't catch them in the act, it's hard to keep on top of things. But we are, I did make a note when that concern came in and mentioned it to our janitor. And we did, again, like I say, I focused on Friday of last week, doing a power wash for both bathrooms.
Okay. I appreciate you getting on that, Mr. Pennington. Just a quick question about the bathrooms. Are they open 24/7?
No, the police department does lock them in the evenings. We open them about 7 a.m. when our janitor gets in, sometime around 7 a.m. He
And
walks
then they're
over.
cleaned in the morning by.
He does
Okay.
maintenance, changing the toilet paper, things like that. It's
basic.
simple things.
Okay.
And then throughout the day, he doesn't get a chance to go back as he's maintaining the other facilities. But typically on a Monday through Friday daily basis, he is there in the morning to hit the facilities first thing.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else have comments on this item? Mrs. Sachs?
Thank you. I'm just wondering, so that's really admirable. He goes in the mornings. Before we have events and after events, is there any additional type of cleaning, maintenance?
When we have events there at the Walt, I typically keep 2 people for voluntary overtime to man those events. And with that, they are maintaining the bathrooms as well as picking up the garbage around the park, emptying the garbage cans, that sort of thing. So those are addressed during the course of those particular events.
Thank you.
Thank you. While we're on the topic of the Walt and cleaning issues there, another thing I hear about, probably number 2, about complaints at the Walt are the amount of trash in the receptacles, and particularly around the gazebo. We seem to be getting parties coming in And putting it to good use. One thing I do wonder is if, we should indicate some requirement if you're going to have a party there that you pack out your refuse. It's all going into the I believe, two trash cans that are in that vicinity, and with things piled on top of them frequently. So any comment on something like that?
Do we need more trash cans? Do we need more frequent disposal? I don't,
Yeah.
you know,
One,
I have no idea how,
yeah.
how.
One thought I had is if,
Prefer.
would it make sense to have a plaque or something, or a sign at the gazebo saying, if you're having a party, pack out? I don't know whether that would be feasible or not.
I think it's hard to enforce. I think
Yeah.
it's something that you'd really have a hard time enforcing. The other thing we're running into with on the Fenwick side with some of the garbage cans over there early this year, someone was dumping excess garbage there over the weekend rather than keeping it at their house. So
Have
we've
seen
we've
somebody,
having some issues with that, but I think those issues have resolved themselves to some.
I have seen people drive up, pull a bag of trash out and stuff it into one of the cans up front before.
So,
Okay.
Right.
No, it's a good question and plays into the other safety questions we had earlier about lighting. And I don't know if, what we do for, I know there are no cameras there now, but that may be something that we could discuss feasibility of when we're in safety committee. So thank you for bringing that up. Right. Mhm. Right. Yeah,
Strange.
Definitely
Yeah,
safety
thank you.
committee.
Yeah.
definitely. All right.
All right.
Mrs. Sachs?
Thank you. As an avid composter, I go 2 to 3 times a week. I'm thrilled that the number of cans is, what are we at, 7 now? Quite a few. They are almost always full. And I know there are different days when it's emptied, but I've noticed, and I know it's more in the summer, maggots, smell. I've heard that there are animals that come by. I don't know if we need to, I don't know if that's wafting into the park. I haven't heard that. I'm just wondering if it may be, if the composting bins need to move across to where the service, across the street. I don't know.
I've
I
got
thought
a,
we'd have a discussion.
Let me comment first, Mr. Pennington. I do agree. There are, I believe, 7
Yeah. Great.
bins there, and they're getting used, and I
Yeah.
think that's fantastic. I think that speaks to the enthusiasm people are having for our universal composting program, and I'm looking forward to hearing more numbers on that. Once we're nearing completion there, I can see Mrs. Bremer Fisher's eyes light up. But I do wonder, with 7 of the bins there, if we were to continue with that program, to more distribute them to other areas of the city, Purvis Park or
I suggested that.
Garrity, to, be more accessible to people on the eastern side. One last comment. I personally appreciate having them at the park, and I know others do too. They incorporate walking their compost over into their evening walks. And I see folks walk by and drop their compost off there. I think having it at the park is more accessible than being at the service yard. And I don't know how many, I think we've wanted to limit the number of people near the service yard after hours. So
I mean, outside, even outside, you know, they can park at the wall. It doesn't, it can be outside of the gate.
Yeah.
It's outside now.
Yeah, outside the gate at the wall, yeah.
But also outside of the gate of the service yard. It doesn't have to
Mm-hmm.
be inside, like where the cardboard is.
Yeah.
It could be-
Yeah, I just,
Utilities, not recreation.
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and I think we could talk about
They're
this.
talking about the walls.
Right. I
Okay,
know.
the impact. I didn't know if
I
the
know.
odor, aroma
Can,
wafts into the walls.
Yeah, I think this would be a great conversation to include when we're discussing the merits and what we want to do with composting moving forward in the city.
Yeah, I'd just say that, you know, the pilot goes from May to the end of October.
Mhm.
And so we've got some preliminary results and we are talking with Rust Belt riders already about, you know, what we can do since there has been such demand for the program as the program is ongoing. But really the only thing they can do at this point is add bins or, you know, increase the frequency of when they service
Mhm.
them. But as we talk about putting this into the budget for next year, we do in fact want to talk about additional locations.
Excellent, thank you. That satisfy question or what your comments?
Well,
Um,
I just wanted to state, just from a safety standpoint, placing those bins over in our service facility with all our equipment over there. Even when we're doing the snow plowing and stuff, we had someone park to drop off the recycling last year and backed our excavator into their car because they parked right behind the loader loading salt into our trucks. So it was one of those things where, from a safety standpoint, having that extra traffic being added to the service yard is not something that, and having space for the carts
Right.
is something that I have significant concerns over when looking at this, is trying to relocate that location.
Thank
Right.
you.
Yes,
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Pennington.
thank you.
Ms. Weiser?
Good. I've got something that goes back to recreation.
Okay, great.
At the last recreation meeting, the mayor announced that he had asked the engineer to research getting a firm in to evaluate the pool and determine if, and he used the 3 Rs and I loved it, it could be repaired, if it needed to be rehabilitated, or if it needed to be replaced. And I didn't see it on the agenda, and I did ask the engineer if anything had happened, and they were still looking for something. I'm curious, since the mayor is here, are you pursuing that?
I'll comment first. So I did ask, I think that was Mr. Pennington that was looking into that. And I asked a question.
No, the engineer, the mayor said he had asked the engineer.
All right, thank you.
And that is why since the engineer is here,
Okay,
I wished to ask her
okay.
or the mayor,
No.
since the
Yeah.
two of them were the ones doing it.
It's not on the agenda, but Brenda, do you want to talk a little bit about Fairview Park?
So my firm does not. It's more of a specialty area to
Mhm.
be able to do that. So I did pass on some information to the mayor today regarding one of our other cities that we are municipal engineers for is Fairview Park. They just had, they're in the process of having their pool rehabbed. So I gave him some RFQs that went out for what type of firms and what type of services that they were looking for. So they ended up, they hired an owner's rep, a construction manager at risk, and then an architect of record who oversaw the program, like the evaluation, the design, and now the construction. So then there's also, their pool's indoors. So it also required a roof repair on top of it. So they have an engineering firm, a construction or mechanical, electrical engineers involved, and a pool specialty architect.
Hmm.
So there was a lot.
Yeah, no, it went to the place it had to go. Thank you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that the movement was moving, and then to be able to say, Mayor, are you going to continue to pursue that? Because I thought it was a wonderful idea.
I can confirm receipt of the email and a copious amount of documents that I will be reviewing.
Great.
Mr. King,
Yes, Mr. Cooney.
one of the things that American League, once they do the review, if they do the review, will help us determine if the pool needs replacement or renovation. We are already aware that the pump room, that equipment does need replacement.
Thank you, Mr. Cooney. Ms. Weiser?
But it doesn't resolve the leak in the pool, which I was not told has disappeared from last year to this year. And that probably can be more problematic in terms of where that leak is and what may be deteriorating because of it. And that's the other part of this is the pool is that normally outdoor pools have a 25 to 30-year life. For some reason, University Heights has always been able to extend its pool without a horrendous amount of problems, but has tended in the past to be a bit more proactive because, as we all know, there are two main community gathering places in this city, the Walt and the pool. That's where the community really gathers right now. And those are the two areas that I would assume we would want to maintain as well as we can.
Thank you, Ms. Weiser. Mayor?
Yes, I'd like to remind the committee, I think everyone's aware of this, and I think I've brought this up before, but it's worth bringing up again in this discussion that we have a bond that we will be finishing paying off in 2029. That was the bond that was used to build Walter Stinson Community Park. It was, I believe, a renewal of the bond that preceded it for the pool itself. So when the pool was paid off, we went to the people and they kept this levy in order to build Walter Stinson Community Park, and that park is almost done being paid off. And I think it would make the most sense, barring calamity, with regard to the state of Purvis pool, that the city plan to go back to the people based upon this bond being paid off, with the idea of continuing to use that amount of money that we ask of our residents for continued recreation and direct it back to whatever it is we're doing at the pool. So we should have a plan by then for that, and that would be a reasonable way of paying for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Weiser?
No complaint about going back, but the cost of a pool today will be more than the cost of the pool was when the initial pool bond was issued. If this is 2025, we're basically in 2026, budgeting wise already. That's only 3 years away. This thing doesn't happen in 6 months. The last time we rebuilt the pool, there was an extensive community process that was used to determine if we were going to rebuild the pool, that we would meet the needs of a wide range of our residents, from little kids, mothers with infants, adults, and some of our tax-paying residents that cannot swim in a mixed company. And in my humble opinion, we did a tremendous job. That doesn't mean that design, if we're going to go back out to redo the pool, is what we're going to do. And if we don't start thinking about it now And we don't know if we put money in to rehabilitate the pool. Maybe we have the money and we're able to extend its life for 5 years. That also could be a good thing. So it's just me reminding everybody that sometimes being a little bit more proactive helps.
Thank you, Ms. Weiser. Yes, we certainly do need to keep the pool or the future state of the pool in our minds. Any other comments on this topic? And anything else before we adjourn? Okay, I will make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Mrs. Sachs. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you. And I'll just make one note. Did everyone get a chance to sign in on here? City employees? Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
And thank you, Mr. Cooney. Have a good evening.